When doing development, it's always tricky because, research there's lots of opportunities to fail in research. Every experiment doesn't work, and every experiment isn't even necessarily attempting to work, right? We're trying to understand the constraints and the boundaries of what we're doing. There is a inside joke at Tetramer, we can't do the last experiment first. But this goes back to one of our partners' years at Dow Chemical, where someone asked them, why didn't you just do the last experiment first? Because we didn't know to do that experiment. It took us a year of trying and failing and tweaking to get there. It's an occupation where it's easy to look and say, oh, I failed. But in reality, the key is I want to fail a new way today. This is how I failed yesterday. How can I fail today in a new way that I'll learn something new? And that's something that, clearly you can take that to life. I coach wrestling at Daniel High School, and I tell my wrestlers, I want you to step off the mat better than you stepped on. That you got out there and you got pinned, but you learned a new way you learned a new way that you can lose. Okay, good, let's not do that again. And I think for us, it's the same thing. When I walk into the lab or when I walk into a business meeting, I want to win, I want to get the desired outcome. But at the end of the day, what I really want to do is come out a wiser person who will be better tomorrow. And you just have to take that with you as you go. An example I give to Clemson students that I teach an entrepreneur class to once a year, a customer came to us and just said, I have a waste product. Do you think you could do something with it? And they didn't fund us. We actually got funding for this project. But we said, okay, we'll try to find a use for it. So this was a bio-based waste product. And we looked at it and looked at the chemistry, and we brainstormed, and we developed a replacement for styrene. And so styrene's used in boat hulls and fiberglass vinyl ester resins. It's a volatile organic compound. It causes cancer. It's regulated. So we have developed this bio-based styrene replacement that's a waste product. It's the greenest, happiest story you can kind of tell, and it lets people go out on boats. It just makes life great in every way. The raw material product that we needed was being burned. It was literally a waste stream. Once we got it developed, the person that was selling the material said, well, we want to sell it for a little bit higher value because it's a co-product. And it was a penny a pound too expensive. And you think, well, does that really matter? Yes, it does. We went to people that did vinyl ester resin compounding and said, will you buy this? And they said, no, it's too expensive. And it was literally 1.5 cents, I think, too expensive. And so you take that and you look at it and you go, everything was a success, except for we didn't secure the supply chain at a rate, and it was because the cost structure changed. We ended up licensing that technology to a very large chemical company, and 2 years later, they returned the license to us and said, it's a penny a pound too expensive. And so we felt better about ourselves that we were as good as that company was, but that was a complete failure. And that's what we tell, the university kids, like, you can do everything perfect, but we didn't transition it. And the key is, what do we learn from that, right? It's next time we go into our next project, we're a little bit wiser, and we haven't failed that way again. We've found new ways that we don't transition projects. Most of them are communication. It's having a firm understanding at the outset what success looks like, and then hitting those goals.